Am I too loud if I say, when I started this, there were so many people who did not want to listen to me. They wanted to disregard my opinion. They wanted to disregard my experience. They wanted to disregard my age.
I have a few things that you've said online. So. First one, most men don't marry the woman they love the most. They marry the woman that is around when they're ready to marry.
I'm a big believer that if something is not going right, it's not going right because it's going to contribute to something that is going to go better. Experiences in life taught me different lessons. One of those lessons was the power of not just what you say, but how you say it.
Rapid fire scenario advice.
Okay.
You're the friend who is always taking up space, and one day your partner tells you to be quiet and stop embarrassing yourself. How do you handle that?
Hey!
Welcome to Am I Too Loud, the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to Am I Too Loud, the podcast with Sophie, aka the mother freaking Odditty. This is like a guest that when I first started my podcast, she was the first name I wrote that I had to have as a guest on the podcast.
Aww.
Like, you're not supposed to sing, you're not supposed to.
Sorry.
If you know a voice, then don't ignore, keep going. But this was the first person that I wrote, like I had to interview. And I didn't grow up with a big sister. In fact, you guys know my family history. I have my brother who's 10 years older than me. And so when I was in America and navigating adulthood and everything like that, this was my big sister. And I don't think she knows this, but this is something that I don't think I've even said it to your face. But I genuinely would have notifications on your Twitter and on your socials just so I can hear what you had to say, read what you had to say. Was in some way it felt like this was the big sister that I didn't have. And now I try as much as possible for my content to remember to say, okay, if I was younger me, how am I going to be a big sister for other people? And I think even when I was trying to come up with things to talk about with this episode, everything just came up was like, this is your sister. Like, you share so many incredible, like, powerful stuff for young girls, especially young Black girls out there. And it's so special. You do it with such fucking grace. Like, it's just like you uphold such grace and humility and just badassery that, like, I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, I need to be so prepared for this. Mind you, in my head, we're like besties, right? But I love her so much. But ladies and gents and Odd Fam and everyone listening, Toni fucking Tone.
Hi. You're going to make me tear up. Sophie, that was such a sweet intro.
My Cancer sister.
So happy to be here.
No, thanks for coming on here.
I'm so flattered.
No, please. See, y'all, Toni's so sweet. I wish you guys, like, there's certain creators that you meet, and we met in DC for the first time a few years back, and you were so sweet. Like, that was it. Like, and I had been through such crazy ass people on the internet that I'd met, and I mentioned, I was like, oh, she's kind. Like, you're kind. Like, at the core of it, you sort of give, like, kind. And like, I hope people can see that through your content. And like, of course, you're smart as fudge, but like, at the core of it, you're kind and you care about us. And
I try to.
Yeah, and it's very reflective of that. So I had to show you so much love. Hi, welcome to the audience.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you came.
Yeah,
so
I couldn't miss this. I was like, you know what? I have to find a way to be here.
Guys, I don't know. I just want to say, like, even like planning, I was so nervous reaching out about wanting to do the podcast.
Oh, really?
Because in my head, I'm like, you're so big. Like, you're so famous. It's like, girl, I'm like, would you want to be on my podcast?
You know what? Sometimes I feel like how I see myself and how people describe me, sometimes it doesn't correlate. Like, what are you talking about, girl? You're famous. If I'm famous, you're famous. Are we famous together then?
No, I'm so excited. It's going to be a fun conversation. When we first started, Toni's the first person I asked if there are any things that she wouldn't want, like, to be said. And only because, like, in my head, I just fangirl over you. So I want to make sure I get this right. And in just Toni-like fashion, she was just like, girl, I say everything online. And that's me too. Like, I'm just like, if it's anything that you probably ask me, I've probably made it, like, said it. And so before I kick off by asking you, like, to introduce yourself to folks, I have a few things that you've said online that I want your immediate reactions to kick off the episode. Because I got some tweets.
How old is this stuff?
Not too old. But first one is, I live life like I can't fail. As far as I'm concerned, things will always work out in my favor. In my mind, even when circumstances take a turn, it's one that will help me in the long run. It's a delusion I refuse to let go of because it's been attracting great things to my life.
Facts.
how in God's name did you think about that? And like own it. Like no genuine. Because people like, I feel like people like to yappa online and like they don't mean it. They just type stuff.
Yeah.
But I know for a fucking fact that that's exactly how you feel.
That is exactly how I feel. I guess it comes from like seeing things maybe when I was younger not go my way, and then things end up better having not gone my way. So I guess that fed it's not even delusion now. It's purely faith.
Yeah.
That fed the belief that, you know what, if something is not going right, it's not going right because it's going to contribute to something that is going to go better. Like and I've seen it with everything, whether it's like heartbreak that led to me becoming an author, or whether it's like relationship breakups that led to me finding like my person.
Yeah.
Everything has fed into something bigger for me. So in my head, it's like, I can't lose. Like the game is rigged in my favor. I just need to be able to process it that way. And I think, and it's not even like an individual thing. I think for many people, things happen for them, not to them, right? But so many people get stuck on the to. They think, oh, why does this horrible thing happen to me? And they dwell on it and they focus on it and they lose sight of everything else that is meant to fall in place as a result of this horrible thing happening. But I guess I've just kind of reframed my thinking. So when something bad happens, I'm like, okay, what's the reason for this? What am I supposed to do with this information? Am I supposed to share this? Am I supposed to write about this? Is it going to feed into something? Like that's where it came from. I just feel like everything is working in my favor. I just need to figure out how to put the pieces together. That's
I'm
it.
gonna be like such a weirdo just geeking and looking at you. Because like, so whenever everything you just said, I like to explain it as like, you can't fail, you only learn from failure. So when someone's asking me like, oh, what if I fail? And I'm like, if you constantly try, you're not failing. Like there's never an end to that. Like you're just gonna keep going. And you just say so eloquent. That's why I was like watching. Because you're just like, I'm like, yeah, that guys, that's exactly right. Clip it, Donald. That's going on TikTok. But you're so right. I think we tend to give up a lot. And I see that in like younger kids growing up, especially with social media, because failure or trying is so public now. A lot of people don't want to be seen not doing their best or being their best. And I always like to argue, who decides what even your best is if it's not just you? Exactly. So even if you're figuring things out, figure it out on your terms. You're learning as you go. You're allowed to make mistakes as long as you're working towards something.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with that.
Period. That's going to be such a good episode. Okay. Another one you said is, in an ideal world, you want to be fully healed before jumping into love. But what does it mean to be fully healed, and is it even possible? My unpopular opinion is that you can be in the process of healing and can still foster happy relationships. Just be honest with yourself and others.
Yes, I completely agree. I think that sometimes, and I think I fell victim to this when I was younger, like believing that, to be in a new relationship, you had to be 100% ready, fully healed. But when I said, like, what does it look like? What does it look like? Because none of us are fully healed. None of us. Yeah. Even we might be 98%, 99% of the way there at our best, but there'll always be a fraction of us that is still a little traumatized. And I don't want to say broken, but still a little hurt from things related to the past or things out of our control. And it's like, if we wait to get to this state of perfection, will we ever find love? Because perfection doesn't actually exist, right? Yeah. You have to be willing to embrace your flaws and your journey and the pain you may or may not be holding on to. Embrace those things and acknowledge them with the understanding that, look, I can experience these things and still be open to love and loving someone. Like even with me and my fiance, when I met him, do I feel like I was in a healthy place? Yes. But do I feel like I was fully healed? Yeah. No. Yeah. Even like he'd even joke, even to this day, sometimes like I might do something and he was like, he'll just be like, who hurt you in the past? I'd be like, dang, I really have a lot of work to do. Like that's his way of joking, like, damn, like you clearly clinging onto a bit of her. And I think I even said on my podcast once upon a time, there was a clip that I shared where I had to explain to people that it was effort for me to embrace the vulnerability with him. Like my default was very much, this is pissing me off. I'm gonna go. This ain't working out. I'm gonna leave. I don't have time for this, right? And it could be something small. And with him, I had to be like, no, I really want this man. I love this man. I appreciate this man. He's a good man. I need to fight that feeling. Now, if I was waiting to be fully healed, I would never have been with him because there was still that part of me that was like unwilling to be patient with someone. So that's what I mean. I think that a good partner will actually help to speed up that healing process. Should you look to them for your healing? No, it's your responsibility, but they will support you in that process.
Okay. I feel like you've lived the life I am currently living, or we're living our life. And I feel like I
Really?
texted you, or maybe I just gave up and was like, I'm just going to ask you this when we finally get lunch. Because like everything you just said right now was a situation I was in. And I just couldn't wrap my head around someone telling me they weren't healed and they wanted to figure it out, and feeling like I want to help because I'm the helper kind of thing.
Relatable.
My therapist would tell me, Sophie, you don't have to be needed. Like sometimes you just allow people to figure it out themselves. And I want to always be like, how can I help? How can I do this? So listening to you talk now, I'm like, there was a lot of work I had to actually do internally for myself. To ask myself, like, why am I feeling the need to save people or try to heal people? Really? Oh, my mom. That's why it went past it. Hold on. Because she's going to keep calling. If you know African mothers, Mommy, sound like, and I'll call you back. I'm filming.
Oh, okay.
I love you.
Love you, Mom.
Guys, it wasn't do not disturb, but she will call me 5 times. Like, that's how you know she's been calling, because she went past do not disturb. And it's on WhatsApp, so I didn't know WhatsApp allowed you to do that now.
It's too funny.
It lets you, and she will call my other phone too, and she will call my best friend, because I'm also not.
That's sweet.
I'm a nomad now, so she's like,
she'll say you're safe.
she's like, where are you? And I'm not ready to share my location yet. I'm like,
she doesn't even know you're in London.
She knows, but like location isn't like where exactly I am. Because that woman will find a way to find someone to come find me there, it's just to make sure I'm okay. But no, I get exactly what you're saying. It's a lot. Oh, we have a lot to chat about. I'm telling you, like even like separately off the record, because I always feel like I want to pick your brain so much, because you have such an intentional way of seeing yourself and your self-worth in comparison to like relationships and stuff like that too, which is something that like a lot of young girls struggle with, especially as we're growing up. So especially within our culture too. I'm learning that. Okay, this is an old one. This is from 2018.
Okay.
But most men don't marry the woman they love the most. We know this one. They marry the woman that is around when they're ready to marry. I saw this shared on Instagram. I wanted to see some male opinions on this, but I want to actually know what your thoughts are on this one. Is the statement completely false, or does it hold some truth? When you tweeted that, I've had conversations happen. It was 2018. People still talk about it till 2025. I know people are still talking about that.
That scarred a lot of people.
A lot of women were upset.
It scarred a lot of people. But funnily enough, it didn't scar me. I think it's because when I asked men for their opinion, I had access to both sides of the coin. I had access to the opinions. It's always the bad stuff that goes viral, right?
Yes.
So when I was sharing the great ones and I was sharing the bad ones, it's the bad ones everyone wants to freak out about, but they're not necessarily retweeting the good ones. But there were men who were like, yes, this is so true. Like, my wife is lovely and I love her, but I loved someone else more and I fumbled her.
That's a crazy thing to say.
Yes, I know. Very crazy. There were guys that were like, I wasn't in love with my wife, but she was a good woman. I knew that she'd cook, she'd clean, she'd take care of the kids. And I married her for that reason. There were men who were like, I was getting old. I didn't want to be alone. And I just married this girl because I knew she'd like me for ages. But on the flip side, there were men that were like, I married my dream woman. I met this woman. I was like, this is my everything. There were men who were like, I've loved this girl from day one. There were men who were like, I wasn't ready to marry when she wanted to marry, but I had to summon up intentionality because there was no way I was going to fumble this woman. I was going to lose this woman. I married the love of my life. So do I think it's at the time, what did I think? Because I was asking what people thought. Do I think it was most men? No, I think it's many men. I don't think it's most. I think it's many. I think if I had to assume, I'd probably say about 50-50. And 50 is still a scary number, right? But I think to be controversial, a lot of women do this too. I think there are a lot of women who aren't married to the men that they love the most or loved the most. But they married men who they felt like, he's a good choice.
It's stable.
Yes, he's stable.
He'll be a good father.
And the thing is, we want stability, but we also want stability and love, right? That's the ideal.
Can you have both?
Pardon?
Can you have both?
Oh yeah, I have both. Hell yeah,
like absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think having both also comes with having maturity, because I think that you can never have both if you're an immature person, because you will see stability as boring.
Ooh.
Stability will not entice you. You will assume stability means absence of passion. But when you are mature in the way you navigate love, you understand that actually stability and passion can coexist. And there's passion in being grounded
Yeah.
in your person feeling like home. Like that's one of the most passionate things, I think.
Yeah.
Like finding home in a person. But if you're emotionally immature, you think this is boring. We don't argue. It's not spicy. I'm bored. And you might think the person you love the most was the roller coaster relationship because it pulled all your emotions out of you.
Yeah.
When in reality, you just aren't emotionally mature enough to value the stability of a healthy relationship. So yeah, you can definitely have both, but you need to be mature to appreciate the both
They go
together.
Yeah, that's so right. I also think about it from like the perspective of how we grow up, right? Because for a lot of times, men are raised to be providers financially.
Yes.
They're chasing that financial goal, and then for women, it's like, or at least for my culture, our culture, it's
Yeah.
finish school. Even if some people don't even send you to school,
Yeah.
get married, be a mother,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And that
So
is
in
it.
that situation, if a man is coming to you, you're like, well, that's all I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I see that now, thankfully, in 2025, it's shifting where you have independent women. Like I just saw research studies showed that in America, at least, like there's more kids being born for 40 plus old
Yes,
women.
I saw that.
And that put a smile on my face.
Me too. I'm 36. I put a massive smile on my face. As someone who hasn't started, I'm like,
I was
yeah,
like,
great.
Now we have time. Because we've been told that, like, your early 20s is when you're supposed to be the baby pumping machine.
Yeah.
And this is like no knocks to folks who, get married early or give birth early. But the idea is like, that's when you're supposed to have the
Yes.
family and all that stuff. And I'm like, my early 20s, I did not know who I was.
At all.
I don't even, like, even now, I'm 28, guys. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, half the time, I'm trying to figure this shit out.
I'm 36 and people think I know what I'm doing. I'm still trying to figure stuff out. Yeah.
So imagine, and then when we see our moms who are like now, who then we're just surviving.
Yes.
And there's so much blame and so much shame that they carry. And I oftentimes wonder, like, I wonder what would have been like for them if they actually took the time to learn who they were, what they wanted, how to love, how to get loved. I wonder what the difference would have been. So it's very interesting.
It is very interesting. And I feel like my I guess parental position is kind of unique in that my mum got married at an age which was considered late.
Yeah.
For her time. She got married at 29.
My mom got married at 27.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like my mum kind of doesn't have the I wish I kind of knew what life would be like. My mom was telling me stories of when she was 25, flying from Nigeria to London to go to Topshop, to be going out and having fun, talking to like my mom was living life, and I think that fed into my perspective because she never forced me or pressured me to get married, have babies, or do anything early.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the majority, I think of unfortunately, for the majority of Nigerian mothers who are our parents' age, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, when you're talking, I remember I was watching an episode with your mom and just seeing you go out with your mom, and it drew a parallel to my mom. And on the episode, my mom is coming on the episode, and my mom at the current moment is a super religious 65-year-old woman who, when she came on the episode, a lot of the comments I got was they could tell I was the version of her who chose herself.
Oh, wow.
And so I see that a lot with her.
Wow.
And it's something that, like, of course, I know she chose the path that she thinks or she wants to say is her right path right now. And there's nothing like anyone can do to change that.
Yeah.
But I remember when she was on the episodes talking, she used to live in the UK. And I remember she just told the story about how she wasn't sure how she left the UK to come back to Nigeria. But she's the first child of 21 kids. 21. She was like the one who like my grandpa had sent away. And then everyone was like, she's a terrible child. She's not married yet. Her siblings were giving birth. Like there was a lot of pressure from this Muslim Yoruba family. So she came back and her entire life just became serve your siblings. Wow. Right. And so I saw her shrink slowly over the years, even when I was born at 37, into this person that, of course, I recognize I love my mom, and you guys have heard her story. But when I see your mom, I was smiling when I saw that. And I remember saying to my mom, like, I think you would be like her if you didn't. And she was like, oh, I'll be like that. So we'll go out and party too. I look at her like, girl, you and your job will not go anywhere. I thought you were talking about going on a cruise, please. But you can tell like the joy in her when she sees stuff like that, where she's like, I can tell she loves that women our age are living life and having fun in that way.
I love
but
that.
I also see a part of her that just like, she wishes. She wishes she had that fun or that freedom, but that
it's
she
never
never
too late.
got. my dear. She was supposed to go to the Bahamas with
Yeah.
her friends. So like for the first, I've never seen my mom hang out with people. She was supposed to go, and then she changed her mind.
Oh, why did she change her mind?
I don't know. She's not gonna tell me. I'm gonna shout out her later about it. But like, it's little stuff like that I'm trying to get her to be like, it's okay. Because
Yeah,
my
just
brother now
encourage
has
her.
kids, so she's like, oh, well, my grandkids have to go watch them. You don't.
Yeah, you literally
No,
don't.
if they'll pay for nanny, if
Be
they
like,
need
F
to.
them kids.
Like,
You can go to
yeah.
your vacation
Like,
with your friends,
I'm
drink some
learning
pina
that-
coladas.
Yeah, like live it up. Even if you're going to be sitting down by the pool, just looking, go and look. Like, have experiences now. Like,
Yeah,
we're
it's
grown, we're
important.
older.
It's important.
So I see that, and I love that just position of what that was. So, okay, that was just a good solid start, guys, and we have a lot to cover. So I'm really excited. So Toni, tell us about who you are. How did Toni Tone start? Like, where did the name come from? Is that your full name? How did you
Okay.
start even tweeting? Because I know you from Twitter.
Yeah.
And then now, well, you're everything. You're an author, you're a pioneer, you're creative, you're a businesswoman, you're a podcaster, you're everything. I feel like at some point you're gonna have your TV show. You already have a show. You should have had a show.
God
Maybe a
willing.
show is coming.
God willing.
Like, we'll see. But tell us.
How did it start? Okay, so Toni is my real name. That's my real first name. My Tone is not my surname. It's just a pseudonym, and that just came off the back of I had so many nicknames growing up, but that was just off the back of the group Toni Tone that my dad really loved.
Oh.
And so sometimes they would say, oh, Toni Tone, Toni Tone. And I was like, okay, that works as my pseudonym. So I just
Yeah.
kind of rolled with it. I didn't really think anything of it. You know, when you kind of like just have a nickname and you just roll with it, then it
Yeah.
ends up being your brand.
Your
And you're
brand,
like, oh,
yeah.
wow, okay. So I guess I'm stuck with it now. So that's how the name started. But my first name, my real name, government name is Toni.
Oh.
And as far as like my career, it was a bit of like serendipity as a result of heartbreak. And this is why I always say heartbreak can be very
Interesting.
powerful
Yeah.
if you utilize it appropriately.
Mhm.
So I was always on social media. I've been on social media since 2011. So like the Instagram, since the inception of
Yeah.
Instagram. And back in the day, I was like a Facebook girly. So yeah,
Yeah.
when Instagram launched, I was on Instagram and I would post pictures and stuff casually, but I wasn't trying to be a content creator or
Yeah.
anything like that. And then I had a few followers, but nothing that would like warrant like chasing it as a career.
Yeah.
And I was in a relationship at one point in my 20s. The relationship didn't work out. And I was filled with frustration and lots of angst and annoyance, a little bit of resentment, all those emotions.
Yeah.
And I just needed to channel them. And for whatever reason, I decided to take to Twitter. I had a Twitter when I was in my first year of college and I deactivated it. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, this is not really
Yeah,
productive. It's
Twitter's
not,
very-
yeah. And then for whatever reason, I reactivated it and I was just
Typing away.
typing away. And at that point, we weren't even like fully closed off. It was like on and off. And we were on, I don't know what we called it at the time, a break. And I always advise against breaks now. I'm like, you break up or you stay together. But we
That's
were
it.
on a messy type of break. And I was just so frustrated. So I was tweeting. And that break eventually turned into a breakup. And
Breakup,
through
yeah.
that, I was tweeting. And my tweets just kept going viral. And I was like, wait, I'm tweeting and using this as a journal to deal with
Mhm.
my like emotional pain that I'm too scared to confront alone.
Yeah.
And people are relating to this.
Mhm.
So I guess like this is I'm not dealing with this solo. This is a common experience.
Yeah.
And obviously in my head, I know breakups are a common experience, but not in the way I was articulating them. I'm like,
Yes,
wow,
that's true.
you feel the way I'm feeling? You feel this way about this? And then from there I said, okay, this is bigger than just me at this point. It's not an online journal. I'm just gonna write for the girlies. Like
Mm.
write about my frustrations, write about relationships, write about men, write about all sorts. And my audience was my younger version, like
Mhm.
young women who were like me trying to navigate life and relationships.
Yeah.
I was just tweeting. Then, yeah, my Twitter blew up and I was taking my tweets from Twitter and cross-posting
That
them.
was
And
smart.
then,
That was really smart.
yeah, I'm so glad I did that. And it's also good because when I don't have content like pictures,
You just do
I
that.
just check a tweet out.
Yeah. I studied your page. I did.
Did you?
Yeah, girl. I was like, how is she doing that? It made so much sense because for a lot of creators, like with video and stuff, when
Yeah.
they still were trying to adapt, but you made it yours. You made it your thing still. And I love that you do that with the
Oh,
quotes.
thank you.
Yeah, so
I
smart.
tried. And then, my Twitter blew up. And then I was offered a book deal. A lady called Nancy Adamora reached out to me via email and was like, have you ever thought of writing a book? And I thought it was a scam at first. I was like, who's this trying to scam me? And I showed my mom and she's like, Toni, girl, this is like legit.
Real.
Went back to her, gave her my idea. She loved it. HarperCollins picked it up,
Wow.
wrote the book. It became a bestseller. And then, yeah, I got offered another book deal, and then the rest is history. And then, yeah, it became my brand. I was like, okay, I'm a content creator now,
Yeah.
and I'm an author, and this is my
Your
thing.
Wow. So the biggest thing about your content is there's a lack of shame there. I know
Yeah.
that's a very interesting perspective to bring up, but for Black women, dating has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, we're only a success story if you're married with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not allowed to go through the dating and the heartbreak or the hurts or any of that publicly. You
Yeah.
tend to be like, when you're sharing with your friends, you don't want to tell your friends like the boy is being messy or the girl is being
Yes.
messy.
Yeah.
You tend to just like wait till it's really good and then share that.
Yeah.
So how did you get past that part of things to be like, I still want to share what I'm going through? Is it like self-worth? Is it just I want to share? Because I know a lot of women who can relate to your stuff, but they wouldn't even want to bring it up
Yeah.
or say it themselves.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's funny you should ask that. So I have a book coming out this year called No Fucks Given.
Ooh.
And it's a zero accountability guide to getting over a boy. And I think that's the crux of it. Like,
I
just
love
at the time, just
that.
like not giving a fuck in the sense, and I'm sorry to swear, but in the
No,
sense, it's like,
please.
okay, my heart is broken. I'm pissed off. I don't care if my tweets are pissing you guys off. I'm going to share my tweets anyway. There were so many people when I went through my initial breakup that kind of expedited this whole career change.
Yeah.
There were so many people that were like, oh, here she goes again. We've heard. Shut up. I was getting abuse on the regular, like on the daily. Anytime I would tweet abuse, there was even one point where I almost gave up, and my mum was like, why do you even care? At the end of the day, you're prospering as a result of sharing your experience.
Yeah.
Do your thing. And yeah, it was just a case of like, this is my lived experience. Like, all of you guys can fuck off. I don't actually care what you think. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off at men. I'm pissed off at love. I'm pissed off at this. I'm pissed off at that. This needs to change. That needs to change. This is what I won't settle for. And I'm going to express it because this
Yeah.
is how I'm healing,
Yeah.
and I don't care.
Yeah.
So it was like that element of like stripping away the care. And I think that is tied to an understanding that at the end of the day, your life is yours to control. Outside opinions only have so much impact on your outcomes, right? And when I started to see that I was actually helping people, it boosted me even more, this
Yeah.
audacity and willingness to share it. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, if this helps me or changes my life for the better, who cares?
Yeah.
Because when I'm on my deathbed, I'm not going to remember you.
Yep.
You're not going to be thinking about me, and vice versa. Let me
Yeah.
do what works for me. And as far as like relationships in general, I'm a big believer that it is better to love than lost than to have never loved at all. And it is much better to love freely and wholeheartedly than to hold back out of being scared, because the saddest thing is never allowing yourself to feel free, wholehearted, unapologetic love. That's sadder than being hurt. Everyone gets hurt at some point. Everyone experiences heartbreak at some point. If you're not heartbroken by a person because they hurt you, you'll eventually be heartbroken when you're no longer together because they've passed away or you've passed away. Like, at some point, your heart is going to break. So you're just not going to experience
Love
intense love ever because you're
Yeah.
scared. Like, life is too short for that. And I guess I just didn't want to live like I really want to live an unforgettable life.
Yeah.
And I think part of having that unforgettable life is having unforgettable experiences and unforgettable relationships. And it's not limited to love, it's friendships, it's parental, it's family. And that was just part and parcel of it. Like, I'm going to throw myself into it. If it doesn't work out, there are other men,
Several.
many men. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
No one will die. The world
Yeah.
will not end.
Yeah.
And people are so scared of putting themselves out there or their experiences out there in case of getting embarrassed. Even with my fiance in the beginning. Are you scared? What if it's embarrassing you? What if this? What if you break up? I could never. I remember doing photo shoots with him. We did a Christmas shoot. I could never do a photo shoot with a man
I saw
until there's a ring on my
that.
finger. Okay, now there's a ring on
Okay,
my finger.
now what?
If we never did all those things that we've done up to now? Are you telling me I should have held back because I had no ring?
Yeah.
Now I've got the ring, and I also have all those memories that you would
Yeah,
never
you would
have
never
had
had.
because you're too scared.
Yeah.
Everyone is so scared. And I think they pitch it like it's, oh, you know what, like this self-righteous protect. No, you're just frightened, and it's okay, babe. It's okay.
Yeah.
But the world will not end if you
Yeah.
put yourself out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was it for me, really.
No, I feel like I say the exact same fucking thing every single time. Cause like when I talk about love and just I never want to not fall in love.
Yeah.
I never want to run away from that. Like even as a
Yeah.
kid growing up, I welcomed it. So like I think I have a synopsis of why I think that way.
Yeah.
I think it's because I never saw my mom in love. So I wasn't scared of it.
Okay.
I don't know why I think that, but that's something I always like took with me.
Yeah.
So my mom I was single, like she was a single mom. I never saw my dad, who was never around.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a perception or
Yeah.
perspective of what love was supposed to look like. All I knew was she didn't have a partner. And I
Yeah.
remember as a kid growing up saying, oh, I want to experiment with this. I want to see
Okay.
what love feels like. So I never ran away from it. When I got hurt, I was like, oh, then I'll try again.
Yeah.
And I'll try again. And I always had that mentality. And I would have friends tell me, you're not supposed to move like that. Like you're supposed to get this either one really big love or you're not supposed to try at all. Like you
Yeah.
can't shoot your shot. You can't ask somebody out. And I was like, why wouldn't I take control of the one thing that's so impactful to a lot of us growing up?
That's so important. Yeah.
Like, why would I not be the one to choose
as
to
opposed to
be
just be chosen?
to be chosen?
Yeah.
It never made sense to me
Yeah.
to be the one to wait. Like, it always made sense for me to try.
Yeah.
And what would they say? No. Okay.
Again, the
Oh,
world will not end.
the world never ends. Like, yeah, you might be embarrassed a bit. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Some people are falling down in front of millions of people and they go
Yeah.
back up.
Exactly.
Like-
And I love that you say that, especially as a woman, because I think that's a big problem that a lot of women face.
Yeah.
And this was really hard for me too, like the thought of rejection. And I
yeah.
think with age you become more confident, so the idea is less scary.
Yeah.
But a lot of women end up with the man that chooses them and not necessarily the man that they would
To
choose.
Yeah.
Because if you had it your way, like in a space full of 30 men, that's not the man you would have gone to.
Yeah.
But you ended up with the man who came to you.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can be of the opinion that, oh, if a guy's not interested, you shouldn't be interested anyway. But what if he's shy too? And you're both shy. And because of that, you never ever get together.
Yep. I say this all the time because I'm like, okay, with the thing about rejection, when we grow up, a young boy and a young girl, they're born, they're playing the
Yeah.
playground. At home, the boy's hearing, if he says, I have a crush, the boy's hearing, oh, go talk to her, buy her flowers, go do this.
Yeah.
If she says no, ask her friend or ask her best
Yeah.
friend or ask another girl. The girl is hearing, okay, well, dress pretty.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't move around too much. Don't touch him. Don't talk to him. He'll come to you.
Mhm.
So we hear that over and over and over again growing up. So by the time you're like 12, 13, you're waiting in line like, okay, I have to, if I'm prim and proper, he will pick me.
Yeah.
And you hear that when
And
you're
that's how
20
you turn
and
into
you're
a
30 and 40. Yes. And that's why you see all the pick me girls because that's what is ingrained in our heads.
Yeah.
And you wonder why mediocre men are walking around here thinking like they're the best thing in the world.
Yeah, with baddies.
We're bad. I'm telling
Mediocre men with
you.
baddies.
We're baddies because of this idea of waiting to be chosen.
Yeah.
And I don't think it removes your self-worth to choose to.
I agree.
If anything, empowers you because you have a say
Yes.
in the dynamic, in the conversation.
Yeah.
It should, like, partnerships and relationships should never be one person having more power over the other person.
I agree.
It should always be partnerships. And we see that with our parents, with our friends, with
Yeah.
relationships that have worked or haven't worked. At the end of the day, it's a partnership. Anyone who's married or anyone who's in a partnership will tell you that exactly is. It's never 50-50. It's who can give now, who can take now, who can give
Yes.
after. Like, that's how it's supposed
Yes.
to be. And I get frustrated when I see young girls coming up. I went to Nigeria.
Yeah.
It shocked me in 2019. In 2019, I just graduated with my bachelor's, and I was getting my master's, and I was out hanging out with a bunch of girls, and these were like, it was like an apartment we went to.
Yeah.
It was 5 young girls. I'm telling you, like 18, 19.
Okay.
5 young girls, and their parents all gave birth to them like Benin, like in Oshun, like different places, but they were all squatting on the island. And I was like, oh, so what do you guys do for work? And they told me nothing. I said, what do you mean nothing? They're like, oh, they don't really do anything. Like, this boy does this or this man does this and this man. I was looking at them like, what do you
so
mean?
their whole life was
Their
funded?
whole life is just funded and waiting. And this is a perception that I oftentimes get, not even in Nigeria alone, but even around the women who I know are business women.
Yes.
Right? Because the questions I get a lot is, how am I so independent? How am I
Yeah.
so this? How am I so hard work? How am I
Yeah.
also this thing? Because the idea of women being empowered means you can't be chosen. And that's something that's always frustrated me. And I remember telling them, like, okay, so what about school? Oh, once I marry, I don't need it. For what?
They said that?
Yes. And I will never
that's
forget, like,
really sad.
these are young girls.
That's very sad.
And
yeah.
this is one of the biggest reasons why, like, with my platform, it's always never, like, my mom was on the podcast and she said, I just, when I saw her lifestyle, I realized nobody was funding it. It's just her. It's like, yeah, mommy. Like, I made sure
Yeah.
of it. It's not like this is
Yeah.
me building this thing because I can choose the path for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And so many young women within our communities aren't allowed or don't try to choose their paths because of maybe what their families are saying, what
Yes.
people around them are saying. And I ask for the girls, young girls who are listening, you have every fucking right to choose the destiny that you want for yourself. And
Amen.
yes, the society is patriarchal. Yes, you're going to struggle some more. Yes, you're going to fight men who think you're sexy, so they don't want to give you the position.
Yeah.
But through that comes a sort of strength that makes you even more unstoppable and makes you even more powerful. Because the bullshit you have to wade through to get to the top, once you're at that fucking top, no one can touch you.
That's
And
it.
that is something that, like, it feels hard to get to, but once you're there, it feels so great.
It does. And I think like a beautiful thing about partnership as well is when you're in a partnership with a person who respects your autonomy
Yeah.
and you respect their autonomy, with the understanding that actually, like, you might support each other in life, but you have two separate lives and you had two separate lives before you met each other. And you should still respect that individuality. And I think
Yeah.
that when you give up your autonomy by saying, oh, this person will lead my life, will set my parameters, will choose my journey, will set out my destiny, like, you just give up your autonomy. And I think that's even an insult to your creator.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Well, not necessarily funny, but I don't know if you saw the Nara Smith interview with I think it was Jay Shetty.
No.
So Nara Smith, you know Nara Smith,
Yeah.
right? The cook. Okay. So she talked, everyone says she's a trad wife. So I want to get your thoughts on the trad wife situation.
Okay.
But everyone was talking about how she's a trad wife, and she said, because you see me cooking and cleaning for my partner doesn't mean I am some downtrodden woman. I have my businesses. When I'm not home working and traveling, my husband cleans up.
Okay.
But we're a true partnership. But she said, because of the aesthetic, people don't recognize me or respect me because of my aesthetic, meaning because I'm in the kitchen cooking, I can't also possibly be chasing my dreams. And so even with the conversation around like you getting engaged and you getting married, I know there's two, I'm not going to name any names, but other folks, like women, strong women who the moment they say they're engaged or they're married, now people are like, oh, now they finally can listen to them. Now you're worth being spoken to because you've been chosen by a man. So I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll start with the latter first. That frustrates you, and it's so funny because it frustrates, I think, Taiwan, my fiance, even more. Because I remember one time there was someone who tweeted about like how she was going to buy my book now that I'm getting engaged, because clearly I know what I'm talking about, and Taiwan saw it, and he was like, "Has the information changed? Everything that's in the book has been in the book since 2021. Nothing has changed. What's changed?" But I think it feeds into that patriarchal system and the patriarchal beliefs that people have, unfortunately, from certain cultures have bought into, in that a woman is not worthy, or a woman is meaningless or of less value if she isn't attached to a man, if she's not married. And unfortunately, in people saying that, oh, now I'll pay attention to her, I don't think it's simply down to, oh, we've seen results, she knows what she's talking about. I don't think it's generally that, actually. I think it's people believing that, okay, now a man has put that stamp
of approval on that.
On her. I'm going to respect her or pay attention to her, which is unfortunate. And I guess some people might say, oh, we've seen the results, but I think that is a weak argument, simply because, and I'm going to get roasted for this, I don't care. And I've said this before online, and people really hated me for saying this, but getting married is not an achievement.
It's not an achievement.
Like, if I was a single woman and I wanted to get married tomorrow, I could find a man who wants a visa.
Yes.
That wants to get married tomorrow.
Yes.
I could find a man who needs a roof over his head who wants to get married tomorrow. I could go to Vegas right now and someone will be drunk and say, YOLO, let's go to the chapel. It is not an achievement, right? There are so many different things we do in life that require skill, that require knowledge, that require effort. And I think that's not to disregard people applying those things to their marriage, like effort, right? But the actual getting married, the act of getting married, someone placing a ring on your finger and signing a form to say you're married, that in and of itself is not an achievement. So when people have insinuated in the past that, oh, because I'm getting married, now I have knowledge, I'm like, wait, there are so many people that are married that are coconut heads. Listen to them then. Take their advice then. And likewise, there are so many people who are unmarried who are very, very intelligent, who are very emotionally intelligent, who could give you great advice on relationships. And I don't think it's as simple as if someone is married, they give good advice out, they give good relationship advice
Yes.
out. That is not the case.
Yeah.
There are so many things you have to consider. And then as far as Nara Smith, it's an unfortunate one because I see two sides to the coin.
Yeah.
On one hand, yes, I didn't see that interview, but I assume that obviously she said that she has her businesses,
Yeah.
that her husband helps around the house, and she does things out of love, but not of duty or expectation.
Yes, essentially.
In which case, I wouldn't define someone as a trad wife if they're still working, they still have autonomy,
Yeah.
but they're doing things out of love.
Yeah.
But I think on the flip side of that, the reason why society or the public may assume she is maybe how she did her content.
Yeah.
It wasn't as simple as cooking, because I could do a video now where I'm like, oh, let me make a sandwich for my
Yeah.
man. Let me make some food, some rice for my man.
Yeah.
And I don't think people will assume I'm a trad wife.
Yeah.
And I could do lots of content
That's
like that. And I don't think
true.
people would assume I'm a trad wife.
Yeah.
But I think it's, there was the visual aesthetic that
Yes.
I assume alluded to,
Yeah.
but also, and I knew she did this from a branding perspective because it was good for views.
Mhm.
But when you're overcomplicating processes,
Yeah.
it can give people the wrong impression.
Yeah.
And I think like something that someone might buy at a store, and she explained why she does that. I think it's to do with a health condition.
Yeah.
But when people didn't know that, a jam that you might buy at a store or something that you might buy with ease, and she's making it from scratch.
He wants me to make this from scratch. Yeah.
And I think the connotation of that, people are thinking like Amish, hyper traditional.
Yeah.
And the connotations of those things are trad wife, under your husband's thumb.
Yeah.
And the thing about the internet is that people make many assumptions.
Yeah.
They don't read between the lines.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to read.
Yeah.
They assume between the lines.
They do.
So when you're putting out nuggets of information, people will come to their own conclusions. And
Always.
unfortunately, there's no way to control that unless you share more information. Not everyone wants to share everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's why she's found herself in this pickle. But I'm glad that though she's been able to speak up and say, actually,
I think she's on a PR run right now.
oh, is
for
she
sure.
trying to change her image?
It's a PR run right now because I think with trad wife conversations happen a lot, especially with like what people like to coin hyper independent women, which is ridiculous because I feel like a hyper independent woman is just a woman who's, I guess, independent, but for a lot of people.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
I think a hyper independent woman is a woman who is independent, but sometimes to her own detriment. Because I would define myself as pre my relationship now, a hyper independent woman. Independent woman is someone who can take care of herself.
Yeah.
I think a hyper independent, as far as my definition anyway,
Yeah.
a hyper independent woman is a woman who takes care of herself even in circumstances where she doesn't need to, or even in circumstances where support is being offered.
And she still wouldn't be able to.
Yes, because
That is
she
me.
experiences emotional discomfort when people try and either strip her independence away from her, or when people try and support her, because she either doubts their intentions or because she is so used to doing things by herself for herself that she has become somewhat of a control freak, and she has to manage everything. And I think that is when you fall into hyper independence, when the hyper is the insinuation of it being unhealthy.
Yeah.
Someone can help you and someone is capable, someone is willing, and you're still pushing them away.
Yeah, that's me. I'm so hyper. I can't. It physically makes my body uncomfortable.
I know,
ask
you have
for
to
help.
fight it though.
I'm because I feel like I struggle to find that safety. I'm working on it, and I have really, really good people around me who are helping me get there. But my past has had me wary of men, honestly, of people in general, let's say that, and even women too, friendships. I have had to sort of like navigate that from like being sexually assaulted and having my worth being so connected to that experience, and thinking, okay, if I made sure I took care of myself, no one can ever strip me of my dignity in that way ever again. So it's as simple as, I remember I took a friend out to dinner, this guy. That was the first time a guy actually cursed me out. I was so little. But I never let people pay for me when I'm out. Like, I just can't. I can't do it. No matter what it is, no matter how cool we are.
I used to be like that in my 20s.
I can't.
Not anymore.
I can't do it. And I remember I paid for, I went, at this time I'm very dramatic. I knew he was going to say he wanted to pay. And I wasn't sure how to define our relationship yet.
Mm.
And for my safety, I snuck out to try to go to the bathroom, went to the waiter and said, I'm going to sneak you my card. Please cover the meal and come back and give me secretly. Just so in case he pays for it, I don't feel obligated
Like
for
you owe
him to feel like I
something.
owe him something.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down and the waiter comes, sneaks it in, and he was about to pay. And I was like, oh, I already paid. And he got so visibly upset. But this was an example of someone who held space for me, because he went, help me explain to me why you just did that. Because I invited you out.
Yeah.
I respect your craft. I know you can afford it, but
Yeah.
I wanted this to be my treat. And I'm not upset at you. I just need to understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's okay. It's fine. He said, no. I'm not letting you leave until you explain this behavior to me.
Yeah.
And I did. And he said, I simply only want friendship and respect from you.
Yeah.
And this was something that, of course, I wouldn't have minded if you paid for it, but I could physically feel you throughout the conversation get uncomfortable. I wasn't sure why. And I feel you at peace now because you've paid. And it was that thing took me back, because then I was like, why did I feel the need to do all of that for this? And so that was a really safe conversation for me to have with someone who I'm really close with. Now he can pay for whatever he wants. I don't care. But like,
that's so good that you were able to
but
hash
I was
that
able
out.
to hash that out and figure. I still
Yeah.
struggle with it a little bit, but now I'm understanding
Yeah.
that is a trauma response to something
Yeah.
that's happened to me in the past.
Yeah.
But my hyper independency still definitely shows out in a lot of different ways that I'm working on.
Yeah.
But I think it also comes from like finally having space, like a safe space with someone to be able to like feel safe enough to let go.
That's
And
it.
not a lot of people have that.
They don't. And that's
Yeah.
definitely what it's rooted in. I
Yeah.
remember getting cussed out on Twitter because
Why are we always getting cussed out? What did we
I
do?
barely use the app now
What
because
did-
I've just said, you know what, there are too many
Tired.
people here that dislike me.
I went back
I
for
have
2
pissed off
seconds.
80% of Nigerian men.
Oh no,
I'm-
Nigerian men hate me.
Oh.
No.
Wait.
Oh,
so
no.
they
Yeah,
hate you
yeah,
too?
that- oh.
Awesome. Look
The
at
way
us.
I'm like, when I'm in Nigeria, I have to get security
Snap.
is ridiculous.
Wow.
Like the threats of, they will hit my head when they see me. Like I was one time, a stupid idiot man at a restaurant in New York literally grabs my head and shakes it. And he's like, oh, you this girl, you this strong-headed girl, da 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 da. I'm telling you, like, disgusting. But that's how much, even I tell young girls, like that's how visceral the hate is for just simply existing, because how dare a woman have a mouth
Yes.
to open that mouth
I
to
share
talk
her opinion.
and
I say
share her
something you
opinion.
disagree with.
Oh my days. Oh, it gets
But if
crazy.
we were men, this they won't give us the same level of
Have you
smoke.
seen the amount of podcasts that are out there that say nonsense?
Pardon?
Have you seen the amount of podcasts of men saying nonsense and they
Yeah.
just allow it?
Oh
The men just
yeah.
allow
They
it. But
wouldn't have smoke
when
for
we
us in the
talk,
same
it's a
way.
problem.
Yeah,
Oh,
they wouldn't have smoke
please.
for us in the same way.
Anyways, guys. So even hearing you talk and us having conversation, your voice is so consistent. Like your tone of voice, like your brand, like, yeah, like, because as a creator, so I'm nerding out, because I feel like sometimes when I'm talking, I can get really passionate. So, you know, like that Obama anger translator skit, have you seen it? So like Obama is like sitting and he's like, I'm talking to the people, and he's very calm, very Obama-esque.
Yeah.
And there's the guy who is Key or Peele in the Key and Peele skit.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like he's coming and he's like, you motherfuckers, fuck you, da da da. So
I've seen that.
So I feel like in this conversation, I'm the one who's like, fuck y'all, you stupid, da, da, da. And then you're like, you guys need to listen and understand. And you're so like,
I feel like I'm getting passionate.
Yeah,
It's
no.
funny. In my head, I feel
yeah,
like
no, you are super. That's what I'm saying. So like, but you do it with such grace and
Oh, thank
class
you.
and like, and in a way, I don't know how this will come off, but like, forgive me if it comes off weird.
Yeah.
In a way that makes it feel like women would respect it more coming from you. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I guess so.
and I think again, this all goes back to the patriarchal society and just
Yeah.
like sort of like branding and all that stuff, but you speak so well, like this is again, respectability, politics, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the eloquence with which you speak, literally the notes were like, you speak with class. My team wrote, aura of high value elegance.
High
Mixed
value.
with-
Hey, I've not heard that one
Mixed
before.
with realness. And this
High
is my
value
assistant
elegance. Wow.
who's like just turned 21
Okay.
who said that.
Okay.
And I remember when I saw that, I had to call her and say, what did you mean by that? Because I said, why would I describe what my speakers? Because you've never told me I have high value elegance with realness. So you know, I just talk anyhow.
That is too
So
funny.
what is sort of your advice around maintaining a consistent brand tone? Do you even think about it? Is this you being you?
Well, I think fundamentally it
Yeah.
is me being me, because my sister, if you hear my sister and my brother talk,
Yeah.
I feel like we all kind of articulate ourselves in a similar way. So I think that it's part and parcel of just how we grew up and where we grew up. So I think
Yeah.
that's the underlying thing. And then experiences in life taught me different lessons.
Mhm.
And I think one of those lessons was the power of not just what you say, but how you say it. And as much as I went through painful breakups in the past, I'm not going to negate the fact that I learned lessons from ex-partners,
Mhm.
valuable lessons, and lessons I will always be thankful for.
Yeah.
And one lesson I learned from an ex of mine was how important it is to manage my emotions and regulate my emotions. And I
Mm.
think growing up, particularly in my teens and early 20s, I would struggle to regulate my emotions.
Yeah.
And so I would feel heated or frustrated or passionate about something, and I would just in a quick spiel.
Yes.
And I would always face the same issue, feeling as if people aren't listening to me. And I'd be like, why aren't they listening? Why aren't they listening? And it wasn't until that relationship I understood that actually I'm not helping myself,
Mm.
because people are likely to zone out when you're aggressive. People
Yeah.
are likely to zone out when you're being unnecessarily loud, when
Yeah.
people are trying to have a calm conversation with you.
Yeah.
There's a time and place, don't get me wrong.
For everything,
Sometimes
'cause I
I'm
would
going to
cut
cuss
up.
someone out, right?
Yeah.
But I think what that experience taught me was that how I articulate myself
Mhm.
can influence whether or not people listen to me.
Okay.
In the pace I speak, because I used to speak very, very fast when I was younger. So
Yeah.
the pace, the volume, the tone, everything. And I think I also kind of learned that lesson from my parents, but the flip side, like my dad can get very passionate. And one of my gripes with him is that sometimes I feel like he doesn't regulate his emotions well. And just the other day, he was getting really annoyed about something. And I said to him, look, I need you to pause. I was talking to him like he's a toddler, bless him.
No,
I know he's so sick of my shit.
We parent our parents now. That's
It's like,
exactly what happens.
I need you to pause, take a breather, and consider, like, the way you said that. Do you think that it was like conducive for a positive conversation? Do you think
Yeah.
that this person will end up listening to you, having said things like that? Like, do you think that you could have said it differently? I need you to consider, like, how can you show emotional intelligence when you're having conversations with people? Otherwise,
Yeah.
I was like, Daddy, they zone out. I was like, do you know how many times you've spoken to me and I've zoned out?
Yep.
I'm like, you can't do that. And I think having parents, or more so my dad than my mum, but sometimes my mum, she'd be flipping out too. But having a parent that struggles with that
Yeah.
and is open with struggling with that also made me see what I didn't want to do. And I wanted people to listen. I didn't want people to zone out. I didn't want people to get fed up or roll their eyes
Yeah.
when I speak. So I'm like, okay, I
Exactly.
need to manage the way I speak. So yeah, I think it's just come from experience more than anything.
Because then, okay, you say that, and then I'm in my head thinking, I'm a Yoruba African woman, and mostly Black women, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes that's loud, assertive, yelling. Like well, no, I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but especially my household is yelling. You only get heard if you're the loudest in the room. We see that too with, like, if we're doing games night and you see Africans arguing, oh, they're shouting on the top of their voices. But then I know you're right. Because I also know that the moments where I'm like sitting and pausing to think before speaking changes the game for me. Because my thoughts are clearer, they're more intentional.
Yeah.
But how do you navigate that in a way? Like, how do you unlearn the idea that you don't have to shout or yell to get your point across, especially in like a safe relationship?
Yeah.
Because like the amount of women I've heard say, oh, he's the calm one, I'm the crazy one, he's used to it. And in my head, I'm like, you shouldn't. That man, I'm like, I don't think.
That is too
You know what I
funny.
mean? Like, because there's a lot of, especially like, a lot of women will tell you like, oh yeah, my man is so quiet, but like, once I'm yelling at him, he'll be the one I'll be. I'm like,
Okay.
no, we need to take ownership of the fact that like, you can communicate without yelling. You
I
can
agree.
take a pause too.
I agree.
How do we unlearn that?
Now, as far as the relationship thing, I do think a woman should be madder and badder than a partner, but she shouldn't be
Should be
crazy. Madder and badder.
Madder and badder. Okay.
So I put out a video saying, out of the two of you, who is most likely to commit a crime? And I said the answer, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, should always be you and not the man. And the reason why I said that is because I feel like a woman can be, let's say, fiery, assertive,
Yeah.
cheeky, and still, because of the way women are socialized, still be very
Still
regulated.
be regulated. That is true.
Now, when a man is fiery, he's cheeky, or he's troublesome, he might not be regulated in the same way. And I think that also the way we navigate relationships is different. Like a man who is troublesome can bring trouble to their relationship. But a woman who is cheeky and troublesome might not necessarily be a troublesome woman as far as like moral behavior because of the way women are socialized. And I just observed married couples that have been together for years, and I would always found that the woman was a little bit more fiery. Now, the caveat being, and I love that you mentioned that, is like in being fiery, that doesn't mean you should disrespect your partner.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you should be emotionally immature. That doesn't mean you shouldn't regulate yourself.
Yeah.
In a healthy relationship, both parties work to talk to each other in a respectful way, to have respectful dialogue. That's important. Like you could be fiery in the sense that, like I say this is my example. If I'm in a restaurant with Taiwo and they bring out our food and they got his order wrong, he will just eat it.
Yes.
Me, I'll say, oh yeah,
No,
please.
come here. Yeah.
Can you sort out my man's food? I beg.
Yeah.
Or like, say if something happened where someone's pissed him off and he just doesn't, I'll be like, no, excuse me. That's what I mean. Like that energy where you don't mind being a little bit more direct in the relationship. But you should always respect your person because respect should be a mutual thing in a relationship. So as far as like unlearning, and that family example, I think was a powerful one because in a room full of shouting people, I think the most heard voice sometimes can be the most controlled
one. Yes, that is true.
Because if everyone's shouting, like say you're playing Monopoly or you're doing a quiz game, everyone's screaming, la la la. The one person's like, excuse me, okay, guys. And they just in a calm tone. Everyone kind of looks at them because it's like, right, you're not in the craziness. You're not in the mix with us. So I think seeing that firsthand in other people made me realize that. Also, just seeing how people would react. Oh, it's all right. Oh yeah, go do your thing. Also, how people would react to just me when I decided to switch it up.
Yeah.
And also how I
want to see you switch it up.
You want to see the reverse?
Yeah.
And also people, how I would react to people when they would be like shouting and going crazy at me. Like I would zone out. So in my head, I was just like, look, if I'm doing it, other people will do it. And I guess that relationship that I was in really locked in that message for me because my partner, although it didn't work out, my partner at the time was very communicative. And so when I wasn't listening or I was butting in or I was shouting, he would make it clear that like, look,
let's listen.
Let's
pause.
reel it in. Let's pause.
Yeah.
And one thing he was very good at, and I'm sure he still is, I don't know, but I'm sure he still is emotional regulation. And he was slightly older than me, so maybe it was an experience thing. But I actually no, I think it's also just the environment that he potentially grew up in. But he taught me the value of that and the power of that. So when I was able to implement that in interactions with other people, I saw how that would benefit me and benefit the conversation. So shout out to that ex for that lesson, to be fair.
So like when you were talking, did you watch Love Island this season?
So the American one or the English
the American one?
Okay, so I'm behind. I'm at the part where Huda had a challenge with Ace, heart rate challenge, and they didn't really show us what happened. But I guess like she was doing the most.
Okay,
that's the episode I'm on.
Okay,
so I don't know what.
But at least you know like the beginning. Do you know the spoilers of who won and all that stuff?
Yeah,
already?
I know the spoiler of who won.
Because I think when you're speaking, Huda is an example of someone who is loud and assertive in their response to a lot of conversations. And what has been so mind-blowing to me with the response online is the amount of supporters and women who say, she's just like me. And not in a, I need to work on myself, but in a, I have found someone who is reflective of my behavior.
Yeah.
So that means it's not a bad behavior. I need to continue on with what I'm doing. And I see that a lot online where we see something reflected with us that's not necessarily good, but we go because they're doing it and they're on TV or they're online. Okay, that means I'm okay.
They co-sign it,
Yeah, and it was very weird. So like let's talk a little bit about like Love Island in that sense. Because I see Huda, I'm gonna bring those girls out like for like attachment styles, for example, right? And
Yeah.
how they handle things. Huda, Olandria, let's say Shelly. Because I like to give them like stories in my head. Now I'm
Okay.
talking about in my head. These are not how the people are. But I looked at Shelly as the Black girl who didn't chase.
Yeah.
She attracted, right?
Mhm.
Like she stood her ground. If she didn't like you, she didn't like you. She liked you, she spoke to you. She shot her shot if she wanted to. She had her options. She let the guy who she wanted to speak to her. When she got upset, she vocalized it. Essentially she regulated her emotions and regulated herself. That is what I think Shelly represented for me. Olandra is a Black woman who has been told time and time and time again, like, you're not pretty enough. You need to wait. Your man is going to come to you. You need to just, if you're patient, his slow burn would mean something. You need to be a caretaker. You need to make sure like he's fed and he's taken care of because you deserve love, but it will only come if you work hard enough for it. And then you have Huda, who is essentially like, I know I'm the sexiest person alive. I know I'm great and I'm the one who's going to get chosen. How dare you not choose me? F-U-C-K. I'm going to try to get what I want if I want to. But with a lot of emotional craziness mixed in. So in what you've seen so far, how do you see that representative of like the current dating style? Because those women represent a lot of young women right now and how they see love and relationships. And even talking about assertiveness in relationships, there's so many times where I wanted Olandra to say, F everything else that's going on around you. Pick yourself.
Yeah.
What do you want? Ask the right questions. Don't wait. Don't let him choose you.
Yeah.
But she didn't do that. Or I wanted Shelly to, Shelly I feel like just did great. She was just existing and vibing. Or even with Huda going, maybe take a step back. Maybe go journal. Maybe go relax a bit.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of like, what are your thoughts on a few of those things?
It's so funny that you mentioned Huda and young women seeing themselves in her because I remember my sister watching episodes with me when I was in Texas, and she was like, how is Huda still here? Huda. And she was like, oh, I bet you little girls are voting for her. Little girls are voting for her. And by little girls, she means like young
teens,
older teenagers and young women.
At least 25 and below.
Yeah.
I would say.
And she was like, oh, there's hella girls like this, Toni. I know they just see themselves in her. So it's funny you should say that because I think Huda for me, based on the episodes I've seen so far, represented the woman who is angry and annoyed and frustrated, but is always blaming the guy or external factors as opposed to reflecting and considering what she did to contribute to the outcome, right?
Yes.
And she also strikes me, there's a common type of person in dating who thinks they are mature, but they're actually very emotionally immature.
Yeah.
And the way they navigate conflict reflects that.
Yeah.
The way they deal with rejection reflects that.
Yeah.
And so Huda represented that for me. Someone who thinks they're grown, but they're not quite grown up yet. And I think the contributing factor for her was obviously being a mother. And being a mother, you assume that, oh, you have to be mature, but you're a mother. But no, actually, no, you can.
Kids were moms at 14.
Yeah,
like
mature parents exist.
They do.
So yeah, she struck me as someone who doesn't consider her role in how things play out the way they played out. And then with Alandria, I think that she strikes me as someone who gives more than they get.
Yeah.
And I think that's also very common to see in dating. Women who pour into people that aren't necessarily pouring back in the hope that they feel like they can love someone into loving them back, but you can't love someone into loving you. They either choose to or they don't.
Yeah.
And then with Shelly, I mean, where I'm at now,
Shelly's just
Shelly's just vibing.
Just chilling.
She's just vibing. And I'm at a point now where I'm like kind of hoping, obviously, you know what happens. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm hoping like she gives this Chris guy a chance, but I know she doesn't.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Because I've seen everything on Twitter.
Well, also I see, one time we watch, I now seeing Chris and his response to Huda, and you get to that.
Yeah.
I see how he and Shelly would have never worked.
Really?
Yeah. So I want you to get that. And
okay,
then
I need to watch. I'm excited.
No, it's so interesting, like watching, because dating shows are a mind fuck in a lot of ways, right? Because you're in spaces that aren't the real world.
Yeah.
They're reflective of the real world, but very reflective, like you're putting a magnifying glass to a lot of issues and you're expediting these things. Like for a lot of people, young people, especially with dating, no one wants to take it slow.
Yeah.
Right? No one wants to take a pause. And especially, I'm calling the girlies out, no one wants to reflect because ideally we're perfect. Like I'm a baddie. I'm a bad bitch. Like why would a man come to me and tell me I need to work on myself? Who the fuck is he? Like you need to come to me correct.
Yeah.
But I think there's a beauty in looking internally and working for yourself and working inwardly to see how you can be better, not for any man or for anyone, but for yourself. Right.
Yep.
And how people's responses to things. Like I was saying I have a relationship that I was in, and this person is so emotionally mature and they're navigating, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I felt like the crazy person, but I was like, I know I'm not crazy now. And it took a lot of internal questioning for me to realize, oh, I do have a lot to work on. But there are also times when that happens where I start saying, is it the person bringing out the wrong things in me? Is it me? So with Huda, for example, some people will argue and say, oh, well, maybe it's just the man who's not right for her. But if she finds the right person, she'll be fine. Rather than saying, no, she should work on herself. No one needs to be the person that would help you be the better person.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the relationships need to be, I don't want to say as hard, but they don't need to be like school projects.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no.
you know what I mean, like people, like why do people
relationships
wait?
are easy.
Yeah, like if you're choosing to be with someone, you're choosing to be whole within yourself, and the other person being whole, and then coming together to create another entity to then build a life with.
Yeah.
And with someone like Huda, when I see what I'm like, oh, she's not whole yet. She's not
No,
healed.
she's not.
There's so much more in store for her to like grow and learn, but if there's no accountability there, then there's nothing she can do about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as we're talking about Huda's stuff, a lot of things that came up for me was her attachment style. And I wanted to know what your attachment style is, if you know. Are you familiar with all of that?
Yeah. So mine is secure. Yeah.
Of course you were fucking secure.
I know,
of
but now
course.
I am. I wasn't. I was.
So okay, so you
I
can
was
change,
anxious.
right?
Oh, you can change.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
See,
Definitely.
me and Toni were like, I'm telling you, kindred souls. Because I'm a anxious. What is it?
Anxious, dismissive, avoidant, or fearful, avoidant. A bit of both.
Anxious, fearful, avoidant.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know where that came from, because I'd always said I was secure in my relationships until I fell in love.
Really? What
Yes.
happened when you fell in love?
I became anxious, fearful, avoidant. So I'd always been secure, but I realized my security was in the fact that it wasn't
tested.
It wasn't tested. I had never given a fuck enough for me to feel like I should be insecure about anything or anxious about anything.
I see.
You see what I mean?
I see.
Until I realized, holy shit, I'm in love with someone.
Yeah.
Now all this anxiety is coming in and I'm having to learn a lot about regulating.
Yeah.
So what are some tips for someone who was, because I knew you had been anxious with the stories you were telling.
Yeah.
And how are you able to like work in between? For example, if my partner doesn't call me or text me, immediately is they want to leave. Because when you talked about like you and Taiwo and you saying like the first instant if we have an issue was, oh, we're done. I remember it was one time we're having an argument, and this was little. This is nothing you should be breaking up or like don't even talking to about.
Yeah.
And I go like, they call me back and they're talking to me, and I'm just looking like, oh, we're sorting this out. You're not leaving, and they're like, why would I leave? I'm like, oh. I was like, oh, I thought we were like done. And they're like, what do you think? Every conversation means that we're breaking up or we're not
That is too
together
funny.
anymore. I'm like,
that is too.
because I don't know. I guess I'm just I just assume this is you telling me we're over.
Hilarious.
So how do you navigate that? Because I can also see Huda being pretty anxious and a lot of avoidant too.
Yes.
Most of them did not have secure attachment styles, maybe except for Shelly.
Yeah,
in
to
a
be
way,
fair, the show would be boring if they were all
if they
secure.
were all like secure.
We'd just see a bunch of people having deep conversations and then
over
running
and
off into
over
the
and over.
sunset.
Pretty much. So how did you like navigate that?
I think a key part of becoming more secure for me was learning to have a life outside my relationship.
Yeah.
So I remember being in one relationship and I made my life very much about them. I was very much focused on them, focused on their career, their future, and I was happy to just play a part in their story without writing my own story.
When I started, women go through,
when I started writing my own story, I became more secure. And I think you're anxious when I don't want to say put all your eggs in one basket, because my eggs are all in one basket. They're all in Taiwo's basket as far as like my person, but your eggs in one basket in the sense that as a woman, you shouldn't view a relationship as if it's something that will save you or define you, right?
Yeah.
But I think in my 20s, when I saw relationships like that, it was very easy to be anxious because it's like, if it's not working out, you're stripping away
You're
my
stripping away-
future. You're stripping away my
We
future. You're
planned all
stripping
these
something.
things. What happens next? Yeah.
Like, oh my God, my life is not going to look how it's supposed to look because I kind of planned it around you, right? When I had my own life and I was like, working on my career, I was writing my books, I was creating like a name for myself. I was like, this is lit. Like my life is lit with or without someone.
Yeah.
So now when I met someone that I am spending the rest of my life with, it was easier to be secure because it's like, you know what? I'm gonna give my all, you're gonna give your all, but if this doesn't work out, life still finna be lit.
Yep.
Like I still
Yep.
have my life.
Yeah.
You like my life is not defined by you. And even with me getting married soon, my partner is the love of my life.
Yeah.
Like he's absolutely amazing. God forbid anything happened to him, I would be distraught. Like
Yeah.
you probably would not see me again, right?
Yeah.
I would absolutely be distraught. But with that said, what I love about this relationship is that my life is not defined by his presence in it.
Yeah.
His presence contributes to added joy,
Yeah.
added warmth, added laughter, added happiness.
Yeah.
My life is so much more beautiful with him in it.
Yeah.
But before him, it was still beautiful. And I think that's what drew him to me anyway. And that's what draws me to him. Like he's happy with or without me.
Yeah.
Happier with me, but happy with or without me. And I think when you get to that place, it's much easier to be secure. But when you're not in that place and you're unhappy with your existence, it's very easy to be anxious. And also when you tie your value to a relationship, when in being a relationship, I'm more valuable. When someone wants to leave you, it's like, don't abandon me.
Don't
My sense of value is tied to you.
Yeah.
But if your value rests in you, it's like, okay, you're lost. But then you need to be careful because when you go too far in that direction, you become an avoidant.
Yeah. I was just about to say you sound like that person because what that person taught me was exactly that. Like, I want you to stand on your own 2 feet. I want you to have a life. I want you to do all this. I want you to be busy.
Yes.
But then on the far side of that is they are now an avoidant because they are also like
too busy.
I can't possibly allow myself get hurt. So I'm going to just stay far away from that for me not to get hurt. So it's like a delicate balance of trust. And I hear the trust you have in Taiwo so well. Right. And I hear the trust he has in you, even like by him not being here.
Yeah.
You can always see partnerships as that.
Yeah.
Simply just trusting each other to
That's
survive
it.
without each other, while also understanding that when you're together, you trust to balance each other out and be good for each other.
Yes.
Not a lot of people take the time to do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can trust someone else to do that, especially with like past trauma.
Yeah.
Like, people have been hurt in the past. Like I can't imagine myself not telling someone, oh, I'm going to fully trust you to take care of me.
Yeah.
But I know if I'm going to want a partner to spend the rest of my life with, I would want to. And there's so many young girls out there who don't even know what it means to depend on their self to survive.
Like those girls you described in Nigeria.
There's a fear in that. Like what we do is not normal.
Yeah.
I need you to understand that. I know you know that. And I feel like there's a luxury that we get to have because we're in the diaspora.
Yeah.
Right? You're in the UK, I'm in the US.
Yes.
I would like to say, like, I've been very much like this since I was raised, for sure. Like, when I was in Ilorin getting my law degree before I had to leave, I was very much vocal and stubborn about it. But I also can remember that every time I was trying to be vocal, I was pushed. I got always pushed back. And I feel like at some point I probably would have morphed into a woman that I probably wouldn't recognize today because of all those little nicks and push and taunts and comments from aunties and well-meaning uncles and all this well-meaning people and all these things. So there's a certain level of removal, I guess, from the situation that we have, that we're able to speak so clearly about our independence and our intention. That because I hear African men in like US, for example, say, oh, I'll marry a woman from Nigeria. I'll bring a woman here because she's easily malleable. We've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
We've heard people say like, oh, you want a woman who wouldn't have a mind of her own.
A woman who's young.
A woman who's young.
Because you can mold her.
The amount of men who are dating a 35-year-old is dating a 21-year-old. Are you not stupid? Like, don't piss me off. But these are things that we hear because they're young girls who don't understand what it means to even be independent. So what is your advice to like younger us in that sense, right? Because especially with the age of social media, there's so many opportunities now for young women to either be led the right way,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I get so worried sometimes when I think about young girls and where they're headed because of this idea of, you know, being independent seen as a bad thing or a good thing. You never know.
I think like the key bit of advice would be like, do you want to live the life that someone else chose for you or the life you chose for yourself? I think that's the crux of it when it comes to independence.
Yeah.
You can choose your life. You can choose how your life looks. You can choose the career you have. You can choose the life you have. Do you want full autonomy over your life, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is the key question a lot of women need to ask themselves. And I think sometimes they can view independence as hardship.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to work for myself. I have to make my own money. I have to pay my own bills. I have to pay my own. But there's so much beauty that comes with that.
Yeah.
So much freedom that comes with that.
with
So
that.
much control that comes with that. Being
Yeah.
able to control your life, being able to control your choices and not have to depend on other people.
Yeah.
Now that's not to say that you shouldn't depend on other people,
Yeah.
because that's when you cross into like hyper independence and it becomes unhealthy. But you can do both. You can have
Yeah.
people that support you. You can have people that are there for you, people that take care of you while you also take care of yourself.
Exactly.
And I think like the biggest message to girls that I want to share is that people often show up for you at the level you show up for yourself. So when someone
yes.
sees that you respect yourself, that you value yourself, that you take care of yourself, that you prioritize your needs, you prioritize your desires, that you have
Yeah.
control over your outcomes, they are so much more willing to give you space. They are so much more willing to show up for you,
Yeah.
to respect you, to do all those things for you, because they can see that you hold yourself to a high standard.
Yeah.
And if you hold yourself to a high standard, they're more inclined to hold you to a high
They are,
standard, because you've kind of
exactly.
like set the tone.
Exactly.
And I think that that's the key thing. A lot of people are going to suggest that and imply that, oh, being independent as a woman isn't a good thing. But I think a lot of that is rooted in people wanting women to be controlled.
Exactly.
And when you
Exactly.
understand like a lack of independence means a lack of control,
Yeah.
you will very much want to be independent.
Exactly. I love that. I feel like most of the strongest women I know are independent women
Yeah.
because of that need to push past everything you're probably going to be dealing with to get to
Yeah.
that point too. And it's so special. There's so many more I can think of I admire. Okay, we're going to do rapid fire scenario advice.
Okay.
Okay. First rapid fire question we're going to be asking.
Okay.
You're the friend who is always taking up space, and one day your partner tells you to be quiet and stop embarrassing yourself. How do you handle that?
Do they say it in that way?
In
verbatim?
that way, be quiet and stop embarrassing yourself.
So my partner says this.
Yes.
While I'm with my friends.
Yes.
Hey, that's even like riling me up. I think I'll have an instinctual response, which would be, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because I can't even fathom my partner saying something like that. I'd be like, excuse me. My excuse me is, I'm going to give you a second opportunity to
take that back.
re-articulate what you're trying to say right now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think my initial response would be, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I like to answer like idiocy or insults with questions, because it's going to give you an opportunity to reflect. Do you want to repeat what you just said? Is it an appropriate thing to say? I'm going to say, excuse me, and then I'm going to wait to see what else you have to say. And then,
If they double down.
and they say it again
Yeah.
in front of my friends, because if you're willing to embarrass me in front of my friends,
You're
and
willing to
that's one thing
embarrass
I'm big on in relationships, like you don't embarrass your partner in front of other people.
Yeah.
You can call them out at home, right? But in front of other people, there's a way to speak to the person you're
Yes.
supposed to love. So if they double down and they say, oh, you're embarrassing yourself, I think I will turn to them and I'll say, never in your life speak to me like that in front of my friends.
Yeah.
And
so
then
they can embarrass you in front of your friends, they can do
Yeah,
more. So
like-
I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Yeah.
never in your life speak to me like that, especially in front of my friends. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think you're doing? And then I'll give them the opportunity to again think about what they just did. Because if me, I can embarrass you,
Let's do it
I'm
together.
embarrassing myself, I'll embarrass you too. Yeah, that's how I would handle it.
I love it. I think a lot of women, I ask that because you see a lot of folks say like, oh, we'll talk about it when we get home. And I never want people to feel like if someone had I would say audacity, but if someone who is in my life have felt the need to speak to me in that way in front of people publicly, you've invited my response to be public too.
That's it. Because we can talk about it at home if you kept it
Yeah,
home.
for home.
But the minute you
Exactly.
unleash it outside,
We're discussing that
we're
together.
discussing that.
Yeah. Okay. So next rapid fire. Someone you're into takes a long time to respond to texts. But when you guys talk, they communicate so well. They watch all your stories. They're very active, clearly. So like basically you're texting all day, but they never respond. But once they call you, they can talk to you for 3-4 hours. What do I do? Am I being ghosted? Is this a slow burn? Should I communicate? How does that work?
Now, as someone who I'm such a slow texter, like everyone in my family cusses me, from my partner to my mum to my auntie, everybody, my sister, everybody.
Yeah, she is a slow texter. I can curse her out too on that. When she responds, she's responding, but just call Toni.
I'm a slow. Yeah, that's it. Just call, if you want to answer, just call me. I'm such a slow texter. So I understand why people can be slow texters. However,
Okay.
if this is a romantic situation and it's the early days of a romantic situation, I'm inclined to say that that person is not sure about the individual. Now, the reason why I say that is because when it's the early stages of romance, people are very giddy, very excited,
Yeah.
and when they really, really are interested in someone, there's a willingness to want to speak to them all the time.
Yeah.
Now, when that fades in relationships, or you're in friendships, or you get comfortable, you're not necessarily responding to someone in that same way. But when you're responding to a crush, it's quite regular because of that butterfly feeling, that level of excitement.
Yeah.
So if someone isn't reply, how long for?
The whole day. Like they never text back like once in a while, like hi, but they're on Instagram stories watching your stories, but they didn't text you back. But they will call you later that night. Or they might call you randomly for like long
A day.
conversations.
To me, a day is not a lot.
Okay, Toni.
But then but do you know why?
What?
Do you know why a day is not a lot to me? Because if but they're watching your stories. I was gonna say, like, if
Because they're
they're
on the
busy.
phone.
Oh, okay, no. If they're on the phone, they're not that interested.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if they weren't on the phone, I was gonna say, because my friend was dating a doctor.
Oh, okay,
and
that's different.
yeah, she'll be frustrated because he wasn't messaging her, but his phone was literally in his locker. Like, a day is not a lot if someone's working and they're busy.
Doing that,
But if they're on the phone and they're on your stories, then
clearly
they're
there's
not
something
that
there.
interested. Because when it's early days of romance and someone's interested,
They will keep
they're
wanting to
excited.
talk.
They're excited. Yeah.
Okay, which just leads to the second question. I have 2 people interested in me. One is taking their time, the other is not. First person, stable and building trust. They've made it clear they're a slow burner. There's no commitment yet, but they're a slow burner and they want to get to know me and they want a future with me. But they're taking it very slow. I mean, we're speaking here and there, but there is no passion or love or anything. But we definitely know there's an attraction there.
Wait, how long has it been? Sorry, I
have
love
no
context.
idea. No clue,
just-
but let's give it a month.
Oh, okay.
Let's do a month. That's a
Okay.
solid day. The other is sending me flowers, blowing up my phone, wants to wife me today. How do
And
I
has
know?
that been a month?
Same thing. We met
Okay.
at the same time. How do I know what a healthy slow burn is versus love bombing?
I think when it comes to love bombing, the timing typically doesn't make sense. After a month, someone can send you flowers, someone
Yeah.
can be blowing up your phone after a month of
Yeah.
dating. That I think that's actually fine.
Yeah.
But if they're doing it after 24 hours, they're blowing up your phone, or a couple days, that's indicative of like something that maybe you could side eye.
Yeah.
And also it's a question of how you feel. Like, do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel like it's going too quickly, or is it going at a pace that you are also comfortable with? And the thing with love bombing is, I think a lot of it rests on how you feel as a person and what makes logical sense as far as timing.
Okay.
Because some people are passionate people.
Yeah.
Because the way my partner and I met, to someone else that can look like love bombing on paper,
Okay.
but now we're getting married.
Yeah.
He's still here.
He's still there.
A love bomber love bombs you, disappears.
That's true.
They're in it for the chase, right?
Yeah.
If someone is a passionate person, they might just feel like they met their person and they
Yeah.
want to wife you ASAP because they just know in their
that's the
gut,
person,
right?
yeah.
But then on the flip side, someone could be doing it and giving you like lavish gifts as a means of like manipulating you.
Yeah.
If it hypothetically was a month, I would say go with the person who's showing you intentionality, because I think a month is
Showing you intentionality.
a month is it's
Ample
perfectly
time.
normal. Yeah, ample time to get to
Yeah.
know someone, in my opinion. If it's been 3 days and they're hounding you down, sending you all sorts of
You're my
flowers,
wife,
then
don't
the
know.
slow burn. But I think a month is more than
More
enough
time.
time. Yeah.
Okay. Last one around friends. My friend is passive aggressive and low key shady, no support, and just pretty mean. Only shows up when it benefits them. I still want them to be my friend because I think they're a good person. How do I communicate with this friend?
So sorry, can you repeat that, please?
So my friend is pretty passive aggressive,
Yeah.
low key shady, does not support me, and just mean, and only shows up when it benefits them. But I still want to be friends with them because I know they're a good person. I think ideally this person grew up with the person, so maybe that's why they think they're good. How do I communicate with this friend that drains me? Why would you want to
My
be friends with
answer
that
would
person in
be
the first place?
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, this does not sound
like a good friend
like a good
or
friend.
a person who likes you.
Yeah, and it's like I know they're a good friend, but how if they're being shady, passive aggressive, and they don't show up for you?
Yeah, those are like key requirements for friendship.
Yeah, like that just gives
No.
red flag friends.
Yeah,
If it was
no.
me, I wouldn't even try and salvage the relationship, to be honest. I feel like there are
Yeah.
too many things. I'll give you like the opportunity to like mess up once, as
Yeah.
in like in a behavioral way, right?
Yeah.
But like fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like
Yeah.
I feel like if there's repeated behavior that like indicates bad character,
Yeah.
then
No.
I
Moving on
I,
from
I
that.
don't have the time for that.
Yeah,
Like
same.
I just
I
don't
have a
the
friend
time
who's
for
pissed
that.
me the fuck off recently, and I think we're done.
Yeah,
And I think it's all about like reciprocal energy. And I
that's
think
it.
too many women don't have the same smoke they have for their relationships with their friendships. And we need to start doing that.
Yes. Yeah,
or maybe
that
even
is
vice versa
also-
too, honestly.
Yeah,
Either way, everybody who's in a relationship with me needs to act up and
that
act
is
right.
that is true, and I
Yeah.
like that you said vice versa because that's
Yeah.
so true. Sometimes people will hold their friends to a high standard, not the men in their life. Or sometimes people will
Exactly.
hold the men in their life to a high standard
And not the
and
friends
not
in
their
their life.
friends. Like
Yeah.
they won't settle in love, but they have really shitty friends.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people have really amazing friends, but they settle in love.
Yeah.
So it's about finding that like
balance.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I love that. Okay. This is one I just started doing on the podcast. You're my third guest, I'm gonna say. And Am I Too Loud is all about being bold and opinionated and being unfiltered. And I don't know if you've seen Issa Rae's speech at this Women's Award where she talks about hyping herself up.
I think
Yeah, where she's like, I'm the baddest bitch in this and that. All I did was da 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 da. So essentially what I
Okay.
want you to do is you're gonna start with, am I too loud if I say? And then you're gonna do, it could be 1 minute, it can be 20 minutes, where you just talk your shit. Hype yourself up.
Oh wow.
You can say
okay.
you're the best-selling author who knew that your book was gonna sell out because you put in the work for it. You can say, of course, you're married to the best man because you know your worth, and I want you to hype yourself up like you would speak to yourself in the mirror on a good day.
This is gonna be a
Talk
tough one.
your shit and start with,
Okay.
am I too loud if I say? And then go ahead.
Okay. I'm trying to just think.
No,
Okay,
go
I'm
ahead.
pausing.
Take your time.
Am I too loud if I say that everything good that happens to me isn't by accident, but it's
No,
due
to the
to me?
camera.
Oh,
Yes,
am I too
yes.
loud if I say that everything good that happens to me isn't by accident, but it happens because I'm intentional? Don't get me wrong. I acknowledge God's role. God gives it to me, but I know how to handle it. And I think that is the difference between me and so many other people. My willingness to take the time out to reflect and to consider, why are things happening not to me, but for me? Am I too loud if I say that I was able to create a career out of my lived experience because I actually take the time out to reflect? Am I too loud to say that I articulate myself well, not because I'm trying to prove a point, not because I'm trying to, oh, let me start that one again.
No, you're fine.
Am I too loud? No, this is it. Sorry. Am I too loud if I say, when I started this, there were so many people who did not want to listen to me. They wanted to disregard my opinion. They wanted to disregard my experience. They wanted to disregard my age. But the proof is in the motherfucking pudding, right? Stay winning, never losing. Am I too loud if I say, I've been trying to help you and none of y'all wanted to listen, but maybe y'all will listen now?
Yes! There we go. I love people's takes on this. Like,
I was
yes.
thinking, what will I say?
Look at that. It came out. Yeah, that was
Girl,
it.
I've been trying to help your host.
I love it because like when everyone starts, they start so soft at first.
Yeah.
Every time I say this, they sound so
That
timid.
is
They're like,
too funny.
I might tell, and then they're like, and then I want to tell y'all that you need to. And I love that because
That is
we
too
don't tend to
funny.
celebrate our achievements enough or talk our shit. And I'm glad you
it's
did
true,
because
it's
you
true.
are the big sister I never had, and you continue to inspire a lot of women to just
Oh,
keep
thank you
doing what
so
they're
much,
doing,
thank
and
you.
just you speak so eloquently and you speak so intentionally. And I see that even with this conversation we had, you speak with care. And I think not a lot of people do that on the internet. You just blah, 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 blah. But you do it so well and you do it with such grace. And I'm such a huge fan of you and your work. And I can't wait for you to be at Madison Square Garden selling out shows.
Amen.
I can't wait to be on broadcast
Amen.
TV with your own show. And just, I can't wait to see how many things you're doing. You guys should go listen to her podcast, buy the book. It's coming out soon. Like
Yes,
anything
no
else.
fucks given. You can pre-order it now, guys. So
Period.
pre-order it now.
All of it. I'm so proud. Thanks for having me here.
And
Thanks for having
likewise,
me.
you're doing amazing. Like I've seen you grow so much. Like over the years, I remember like first like meeting you on Twitter, and then how much you just
Oh my God, I'm such a baby.
exploded. But I think that is a testament to like just you as you are. Like you're so warm. Like people are drawn to you because you just have such a wonderful presence.
Oh,
And I
thanks,
think you
Tony.
add so much value in a space that can come across like just very fake and very fickle.
Yeah, it's really
Like
crazy.
yeah,
Our
and
world is
that
so
lacks,
interesting.
yeah, that lacks depth. Like you add the depth, but you also add the vibes, you add the fun, you add a sprinkle of everything. But I think fundamentally, like people can see that you're just a good person,
Oh,
right?
thanks, Tony.
And so I'm
Appreciate
proud
it.
of you. You're doing well. You're killing it, man. You're smashing it. You're smashing
Thanks.
it.
All right, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube if you're watching, or on Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating, or Apple Podcasts, and all of the above. And I'll see y'all in my next episode. Bye, guys. Thanks, Tony. That was good.
If you enjoyed this video, you're going to like this one right here.